Good morning. This is Bob Rapp, and I am part of the Ellensburg Morning Rotary Club. And this morning, I'm going to do my best to talk about a very complex topic in a way that I hope will be useful for everyone. This is not meant to be the end of the discussion, but hopefully a kickoff in large language models and GPT-4 and the technologies that you're hearing a lot about right now. So I'm a technology person. I've worked at Microsoft and VMware and IBM and GE, and currently working as a partner and a technical fellow at Invorso, a company that focuses on bringing amazing technologies to the automotive industry. And I wanted to start with what happened this weekend. So at our district conference in Leavenworth, we were asked to find a community problem that we could solve together. And we sat with our group from Kittitas County, so Upper County, Cle Elum, and environs, and Lower County, Ellensburg. And we created, in less than a couple of hours together with the team, one Kittitas.com, which is an idea that we would have a website that would bring volunteers together with on meaningful activities that are nonpartisan and non-sectarian that meet the four-way test with people that need that help. And it's an idea that I think probably lots of communities could benefit from. I want you to take you through how we actually did that. So we started by going to my premium account at the OpenAI Foundation, so openai.com. And we actually put in a prompt and it said, create a presentation about how to bring Upper County and Lower County together in Kittitas County, Washington, using the one Kittitas site created by all of the county Rotary clubs to create a place where all volunteer opportunities can be matched with volunteers to live up to our service above self motto. Now, what I just did is I asked GPT, which has I think it's about a trillion variables or parameters, to go out and find anything that it had in its knowledge about relationships, about things that are similar to this. Now, remember that it is not connected to the internet, the version that I'm using. So it's looking at knowledge that it has about really all of the indexable public sites that it used. And it created, based on that prompt, a slide deck. It says you could do a slide deck that looked like this. And I thought to myself, well, that's kind of cool. That's all the information I gave it. Then I went to Bard, which is from Google, similarly a large language model. And a large language model really just says, what is the likelihood of the next word occurring? So if I say, my name is, the most common next word would be, in my case, Bob. It probably wouldn't be, my name is ice cream, although I do think ice cream is delicious. So I put the same actual prompt, and when people talk about prompt editing, they're talking about this. And I put this in bard.google.com, and then it gave me a presentation that I thought was actually really cool. And if you look at the introduction, this looks like a pretty good narration. So I then said, well, I'm going to go to a site called Mixo. By the way, all of these things that I'm showing you are free or free trial. I'm not showing you some of the things that have some kind of cost related to them. So I went to Mixo and I said, give me a website based on that conversation or based on that prompt. And so it gave me a website with pictures. By the way, all these pictures were generated by GPT or a large language model, or they are royalty free. Okay. Now, I don't actually like all those pictures, so I'm just going to say refresh the image selection. Okay. Now it's going to give me a different set of images than I had before when I just hit refresh. Um, and by the way, if I wanted to go back and just show you what that looks like, I can just type in that prompt actually here. Now my prompt is a little bit long here, and I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to say generate this site. So it's connecting to GPT-4 via something called an application programming interface. It's looking for things that are similar to this. It's really pattern recognition. So people say, Is it intelligent, or is it angry, or is it happy? It's technology. Its job is to fool you into thinking that it understands what you want, and its job is to provide you delightful answers to your questions. So it's really trying to guess what you want to see. But since there are billions of websites out there and it uses much of the same content to give you a much different view of really the same ideas, uh, but slightly differently. So that looked interesting to me. So then I said, let's try some narration. And so
Welcome to Ellensburg Morning Rotary. My name is Bob Rapp and I will be your guide today.
that's kind of creepy. So probably not a very interesting thing to do. I then, by the way, did the same uh, prompt. Okay. And this is the prompt I got using a service called Beautiful.ai. And Beautiful.ai is a service that I use almost every day when I'm creating presentations because I love to have it as my first draft tool. It might not be as good as I would do as my final draft, but it gets me kicked off in some interesting ways. And what's interesting is, actually, I don't know if this is true, but this timeline I thought was really interesting. I don't even know if this is correct, but I thought it would be an interesting thing to actually have up on the website, and it created it for me a priori. So again, it made up some of these, but gosh, that does, it looks like Bob Jones next to Jane Doe. Bob Jones looks a whole lot like a certain sheriff that actually is a sheriff here in the county, and it did that automatically. I didn't actually prompt it. So there we go, some charts and graphs, and that's it. Here we go, kind of cool. Now again, it did this without any prompting for me other than the initial prompt that I gave it. I wanted to show you a very practical service that I use many times a day, obviously with permission from everybody. Um, so I can't attend meetings in person every day, every Thursday morning. So I actually record using something called Otter, and there are lots of services that do this, including, by the way, we also record the session in Rotary with Zoom. But Otter.ai does a thing where it actually shows me the reports, it shows me the summaries, and then where there are images that matter, it will actually show me an image like, did you know this is the image? And so this actually summarizes some information about the Zoom meeting, which I find very useful. I wanted to show you a place that you get started. All you need is the Edge browser. That is a competitive browser that Microsoft used to compete against Google Chrome and other browsers. And I said, give me a picture in the style of the Jetsons of Ellensburg in the year 3000, and it created some art. Now I don't necessarily know if it's what Ellensburg is going to look like in the year 3000, but I thought it was interesting that it created the art, right? So that's some art that it created. And how did I do that? Well, I was just going into the Bing browser, right? So I'm going to go get out of there, and I can say create a Rotary club logo for Ellensburg Morning Rotary in the style of Dolly. Not sure what that's going to look like. By the way, this is a free service, so all of the things I've shown you so far you can try for free. And it's trying to create that right now. It's going to be kind of weird looking because Salvador Dali art is kind of weird looking, right? And I'm going to say add some clocks because it seems like that'd be cool because Salvador Dali has a lot of clocks. Mostly they're melting, as I recall. And so here is, make the clocks melt, and it's going to show us some of these. Here's some ideas. By the way, probably none of them are things we want to use for the morning rotary, but I thought it was interesting to do. The next one is, I have lots of people that talk to me about prompts. Prompts are just the words that you type in to do things. And so there is a prompt site called writingbeginner.com, best prompts for ChatGPT. And some of the best ones are present information in a table, write a long explanation. So he's actually collected thousands of, and I'll give you one, write a step-by-step process. That's one of my favorite ones. And I'm going to say, write a step-by-step process for getting in shape. And so it's going to give me a step-by-step process for how to get in shape. Probably something I could use. Probably all of us could get in a little more shape. Um, so, so it goes through smart goal setting, etc. Right? It also tells you where it found this information, and it could actually give you day by day workouts. You could say, put this in a chart and do this for me. Right? So um, then, instead of getting into a long conversation during the Rotary meeting, um, I have lots of people say, is AI good or bad? Is it good or evil? Is it going to take jobs away? That's a really complex set of topics. I start at I would start with probably something called insights. This is knowledge-driven content, so it's a pretty fact-based look at what is going on. What are the pros and cons of AI? The biggest one to remember is that some of us have been using AI for a long time. You've been using it, frankly, when you use Siri or Alexa or autocorrect in words. Some of us have been using in technology AI or ML a long time. But it's probably not something that we can handle in one Rotary meeting, but I'm happy to meet with you and talk together. I just wanted to call out that the fact that we used all these tools and a few more to create the kind of cool stuff that we did, we even created um, the the voiceover for this particular website presentation. We did it in a couple of hours, and we actually have a live website. Is really a credit to Dave, our current president, Doug, our incoming president, the great team in Kittitas or in Cle Elum. So Stephanie Bowman um, and Matthew Lund, who actually does this for a living. I would remind everybody that this is a great accelerator and first draft kind of thing. But generally, you're going to have to hire people to get all the way to the end. And so I think it'll actually probably create a lot more good jobs doing more interesting work because it's kind of cool to have your first term paper draft written, but it's not your final. So hopefully I can help you in service above self. I'd love to answer more questions. If you need to reach me, I'm just Bob Rapp, BOBRAPP at hotmail.com. Thanks.